Hey, what is going on? And welcome to a deep dive with D.Rob Fitness. I'm your host, Devin from D.Rob Fitness, and today I'm going to be doing a special episode where I'm hopefully going to be entertaining you as I tell you a story about something that really changed the way that I viewed fitness and actually kept me going as a fitness trainer. Now, if you're new to this series, we do little segments on Deep Dive where we hope to educate, inspire, or entertain. And like I said, today, I am your entertainment. I'm your clown. And it's not the first time I've been called a clown. It's definitely not going to be the last time. But like I was saying before, I want to share a little insight about a thing that was very impactful on me. And it was my experience with going and being selected to go to the lululemon Huddle event. Now, you might be asking, what is the lululemon Huddle event? Because it's something that not a lot of people know about. And what it is an event that is designed to foster community among men who share a passion for fitness and wellness. So essentially what they do is they pick 15 to 20 men all across the US and Canada, so all over North America. They get selected to come and basically do a whole weekend workshop where they learn a lot about themselves and about having an impact on their community. So it's a really incredible event that not many people get to experience. And I was lucky enough to be one of those people who got to experience it. But why I say that this was something that had an impact on me staying as a trainer is at the time I was really going through it. I had just left a job that I had had since I had graduated from college when I got my master's from Wichita State, go Shocks. And I had worked at this gym since I had graduated. So I've been at the gym for 7 or 8 years, been very impactful, trained a ton, was working there full time, and I had recently, right before the Huddle experience, been let go. It was kind of a mutual breakup, I like to say, but I was really not knowing if I could even be a trainer anymore, because at that time, when you were a personal trainer in Kansas, a lot of the places, especially if you were full-time, they would make you sign a non-compete contract. And so for 6 months, I could not work as a personal trainer within a 50-mile radius of this gym. And this gym was expanding everywhere. So I didn't know if I was ever going to be able to train. And at that time, I was like, what am I going to do? You know, I had spent my whole life, I went and got my master's in exercise science, and all I knew was fitness and training. And now I can't do that. And so I was kind of at that fork in the road where I couldn't know what I was going to do. And so at that time, one of the Lululemon employees had randomly sent me an email just asking me some random questions and asked me if I could, just do a good job, but like answer these questions in the email. And I had no clue about it. Her name was Robin. And I was like, okay, I'll just fill this out at this time, because I was really just trying to figure out what my next moves were. I was teaching a few group fitness classes, had a few online clients, and I was just like trying to navigate what was going to be next for me. And so she actually, without telling me, took that and she applied for me, because to be selected for the Huddle, it was something where you didn't get to just apply yourself. You had to be nominated by a Lululemon employee, and they had to write like a recommendation for you. And so I had no clue. And so I was really just feeling down in the dumps, and I was just like kind of lost, honestly, at that point. And all of a sudden, when I was like ready to just kind of hang up those lifting shoes and just kind of try to figure out, getting a corporate job, I got an email that said that I had been selected for the Lululemon Huddle in Seattle. And I was completely shocked because I, like, once again, had no clue that I was even nominated or what it was. I had no context of how big of a deal it was. And I had got actually, after I got accepted and we went through the process of figuring out how to book our flights and everything, because all expenses were paid for. Like, it was incredible. And that was like the first time me as a trainer and as a person was just being basically like, hey, you're about to get flown out and taken care of. And that was such an incredible experience, especially being at that point where I didn't even think that fitness was in my future, and to have like this sign that was like, hey, there's something more out there for you, was just such a blessing. And it's something that I'm always so thankful to Robin and to Lululemon for. So I basically got everything taken care of, got, the flight booked and all these different things. And I had never been to Seattle. I had never really been to the East Coast. I had been down to maybe California for like some cheerleading stuff and a wedding, but nothing like where it was just like me out there traveling. And this is back in 2019. I should have said that earlier. But we were going to Seattle and then Vashon Island, which was basically just kind of off. We had to take a boat to get there. And it was such a cool thing to be out there. And so when I got out there, it was at first a little overwhelming because as soon as we got there, they basically made us go and we had to do kind of an icebreaker where we had to kind of like talk to all the other people there. But while we were talking to everybody there, we couldn't talk about like our career, our athletics, any of that stuff. Like we had to talk about deeper things, which I know on paper sounds like, okay, that's not that difficult, but it's so easy to get caught up, especially when you're first meeting people, to connect on very superficial things like, oh, you do fitness, oh, you lift, I lift too. And, it's just easy to start a conversation with that. But when you have to strip those things and kind of like, okay, who are you as a person? How can you express that without your career, without mentioning your family and things like that? It makes you really have to look deep inside yourself. And this was the first thing we did as we're meeting each other. So I knew that I was in like, I thought I was in over my head, but I was like, this is going to be a really deep, immersive experience that I have never experienced before, because I have a lot of superficial friends and connections, but to dig deep with people you just met, that's a whole nother layer of on top of already all the things that you're feeling. But it was really, really cool experience, and it really got me able to dig deep and really be able to connect with people, I feel like on a deeper level. But after that, we actually got to work out at the athletic forum. And this place was actually such a dope gym. And this is where the Seattle Seahawks, some of their NFL players would train out of. And it was just such a cool experience to be like, I'm training where these top tier athletes train at, and, seeing some of the guys' pictures on the wall and everything, and just think that, I'm working with this trainer that works with them, and, I'm pushing it. And it was just such a dope experience. And then after that, we went and had dinner at an actual seafood restaurant. And at that time, I had never had authentic seafood. I had like frozen seafood or, stuff that was fresh but shipped in. But to have like just fresh seafood was such a eye-opening experience. It was so good. And after that, we actually had to take a boat out to the island, because the island that we were at actually didn't really have the best Wi-Fi and internet connection. So essentially, while we were on the island, we didn't really get to connect with people outside of where we were at, which I know as I'm saying that sounds kind of crazy, but it was really, once again, it really gets you immersed into the moment, into the things that are happening. And so that was the Friday. And so then we woke up on Saturday, and the first thing we did on Saturday is we went for a hike. And for me, being from Kansas and never hiking, and I always would joke with people, not only, obviously I'm from Kansas, it's super flat, but I always joke that, I'm Black. So, hiking's not like necessarily something high on my list of things to do, but it was such a cool experience to go hiking for the first time. And hiking is really tough. I mean, I don't know what I had thought in my mind, like, oh, you're just like walking around in the woods. Like, how difficult could it be? But hiking is really, really tough. And so we got to go hiking, and that was such a fun experience, just being out there in nature. And like, all the inclines, declines. It was quite the workout. So we started off with that. And then we went into a breakout session where we had to really, once again, dig deep into ourselves. And like I said, by this point, we've only known each other for about a day. And it was a little bit intimidating because as we got to talk a little bit more, hang out with each other more, we got to learn more of our superficial stuff as well. And I'm just this guy, this trainer from Kansas, and my roommate is a guy who's gotten a bronze medal in the X Games. And another guy is a retired NFL player. And I'm just here like, yeah, I'm Devin, and I'm a trainer, and I teach Zumba, and I do all this stuff from Kansas. But it was just kind of that I had to learn to lean into, I joke, lean into my greatness to an extent and build up that confidence, because yes, there are these people who are really accomplished, but so am I. And that was one of the big takeaways that I got from it too, was that, I'm worthy to be here. And so it was really cool with our first session that we went through. And at the end, I'll go over a little bit more details about what was going on in that session. But we really broke down some different things. And it was a really, once again, a great experience because we had to break down our layers. And one of the big things that we had to do was we had to talk about what was one of our worst moments from the year. And it was just kind of crazy because all of us are that were there, we're used to highlighting, the great things that we're doing. I'm highlighting, I got a new podcast coming out. I got this that I'm doing. I got that I'm doing. But to sit there and to be open enough and vulnerable enough to talk about a really hard moment that you went through was tough, and especially in front of group of guys. But it was so refreshing, and it was really opened up my eyes that a lot of us go through a lot of the same stuff. And although we might project that everything is great, there's a lot that is underneath that. And I think that helped to shape me as a trainer and as a friend to be able to look at stuff a little bit deeper, because once again, as somebody who was used to posting all these great things that I'm doing and happiness and all that, to be able to reflect on, people are going through some really, really tough stuff, just like myself. And maybe they're not showing it or in everything, but it's important to always be there. And so I learned that through, our sessions. And then we went sea fish. We went to this place, Baywatch Sea Fish Company, and went sea fishing, had some beers, and just hung out. I got some awesome rain boots that I got to wear. And that was just such a cool experience, because once again, we got to go and kind of help fish and get our dinner, which was cool. It was something that I've never done before. And so that was, once again, a dope experience. And then going into our last day, because it was a full weekend in Seattle, and for the last day we went and did a run. And it's so cool running out in Seattle and just in nature. We did a 5K, and then after that, we went and did yoga, and we did yoga from a yoga instructor that once again also works with the Seattle Seahawks. And that was just such a perfect experience. And for you guys who aren't familiar with the Lululemon and how their ambassador system works and everything, they have a train ambassador, a run ambassador, and a yoga ambassador. So it was cool that throughout that weekend, we got to experience each of those different avenues with it. And so it was such a cool experience. And to just think that, I was one guy of 20 across North America that got selected to experience something like that. It's just something that's so special to me. And it really gave me a deeper appreciation of Lululemon and the impact that we can all have as individuals, no matter where we are at. And so I wanted to kind of go over one of the things that we did in our session too, so that you guys can kind of get a little bit of insight. And once again, we talked about our hardship, but one of the things that they did that was a cool activity is we had to think of three of our core values, and we just had to use one word to describe those three core values. And then after we kind of came up with your three core values, we had to break up into groups of four. And what you would do is you would have the people in your group, they would physically express your core values. And so I really enjoyed that because I have a background in dance and in particular in mime. And so this was so interesting to me to think of, if one of your core values was honesty, how would you have somebody physically showcase that? And so that was very interesting to me to see that. But then after you have everybody kind of hit a pose or you have them do whatever it is to physically express that, everybody else who wasn't a part of your group would go and guess what word you were trying to relay. And so then that was also very interesting because then you see people's point of view because we're all looking at the same exact thing and you have in your mind and you have what you're trying to express, but then you have people who have different opinions and different thoughts of what you are trying to express. And that was, once again, such an eye-opening experience just to kind of be able to witness that and to learn about what people's core values are and to kind of see how people view, how they tried to shape it and it was such deep things. And so once again, that was really, really cool. And last thing before we finish is I have the actual part of the notebook of where we had like our journal and everything. And for it, when we wrote down, we had to have like what was our vision, what was our goal. And for me, it was to continue to impact the Wichita community through expanding group fitness and fitness blogging. And it's like a full circle moment because here I am redoing podcasts and continuing kind of the fitness blogging, and I've been really pushing to do more community events and everything, and so it's just like a full circle moment. And so I am just so thankful for this experience, and like I said, I have like a ton of experience, so hopefully with this episode you were entertained. And if you want me to go into more details about this, or if you want me to maybe bring in one of the people who were at the huddle with me and share their experience, or if you want me to kind of talk about my experience as a Lululemon ambassador, because a few years after this, I became a Lululemon ambassador. And so I can tell you guys about that if you want. So just make sure and let me know down in the comments or shoot me a message and let me know, and we can expand upon that. But this has been a great talk, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So make sure and continue to follow me as I hope to continue to help you train smarter, optimize your performance, and create your fitness blueprint by education, inspiring you, and entertaining you.